little celebration of life here.
Thank you for allowing me to be part of the celebration of life for Jim Neshek. Just to introduce, we live right on the other side of Maynard. We were some of the first people on the island when it was being developed into lots. We bought our lot 48 years ago, and that was before Maynard's and your place here were built. We kept it fairly primitive. At the time, I was the pastor of the church in Oconto, and then I got a call to Milwaukee and spent 26 years in Milwaukee, so we didn't use it as much and kept it pretty primitive. But now, for the last 15 years, I've been retired. We live up here year-round, certainly enjoy it, and we certainly enjoyed Jim and Shirley and all of the years that they have had their place here, and we've been neighbors. They've been wonderful, wonderful neighbors and friends, and we've gotten to know some of the family better than others because some are scattered far away. But certainly it's an honor and a privilege here today to join with you as family to celebrate Jim's life and to give thanks and share memories and to rejoice in the gift that God gave to us for those years in Jim. And so into that kind of context, let us begin with prayer. Loving God, today, we are very much aware of your goodness and aware that you are the giver of all life. You have given to us the gift of Jim for the many years that he was allowed and privileged to share with us on this earth. And today, as we look back and share stories and reflect and share memories, we give you thanks for the gift of Jim and Shirley and their family and the gift of life. And we pray that our sharing here today might truly be an expression of thanksgiving, an expression of gratitude, and an expression of your goodness to us. We pray this in the name of Christ our Lord. Amen. Amen. We will all share together in the prayer that you have printed, the prayer that our Lord taught us to pray. Let us all pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
I'm Eddie. I'm Jim's oldest grandson, and he asked me to read his favorite psalm for him here at the funeral. Psalm 23, Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming to join in the celebration of Jim. It's been a year that he's passed, and of course we still think about him daily. we had a really, really nice service a year ago out in Tucson when he passed, and we had most of the family members there to join in. Everybody flew in. But Jim still wanted to have a service here at the cottage for, you know, all the relatives and friends that he knew weren't going to travel to Tucson. So it's kind of funny, you know, Jim, he always was real deliberate and real self-assured of what he wanted to do. But the last couple of years when we asked him, well, you know, what do you want to do? What are your wishes? You know, kind of hedged back and forth, and he finally said, well, we had Mom do her wishes, and Jim just said, I'll just do what Cheryl did. He wouldn't make any decisions, which wasn't really common for him. So, you know, we printed it out, and he says, well, maybe I don't want to do that, and maybe I don't want to do this. So then he had a couple changes, but one thing he wanted to do was have some sort of celebration here at the cottage. I guess he probably felt deep down, you know, the old boy had to come home. And, you know, those last 3 or 4 years, we couldn't get him here. And, he really kind of wanted to come, but he just couldn't make it. So, so here we are today. And a couple of things. I'm sure he's looking down upon us, and I'm sure he's real happy that Mick and Vi were able to make it today. You always talked about you guys and called you and this and that. So, thanks for coming. And I know you guys wouldn't miss it. Thanks, Vi. So we're going to kind of open it up. If you look at the program, kind of share some memories, and whoever wants to get up and say whatever comes to their minds, share some memories. There'll be an opportunity to share stories. Mick was here last night a little bit, and we heard a couple news stories. I think that's the beauty of getting together with family and relatives. You hear more and more stories every time you meet, and it's a lot of fun. So, one of the things that I'm going to share that was kind of special with Dad, and my 5 sisters, and I kind of carried it on to my kids. When we're taking those long trips from Rock Island up to Wisconsin every year, he was driving. Had 6 of us crazy kids in the back. Of course, no one had a seatbelt at the time. But he'd always reach his hand in the back and grab a foot. He always wanted to grab a foot and this and that. And he'd always kind of put it out there, and he said, hand in the hand. So, or a foot in the hand, and he'd always do a little squeeze to show his love to his kids. And then I was talking to my oldest daughter, Katie, the other day. She's got that little peanut back there. She kind of remembered that I used to do hand in the hand when they were growing up. And then she's already carried it on to her kids. She'll reach over and look at Sevi and say hand in a hand, or Hazel, hand in the hand, or foot in the foot. So it's a nice memory that Pops has passed down, and that we'll remember forever and ever. And of course, there's a zillion memories, but we'll just open it up, see if anybody wants to share some stories, and it'd be a good way to celebrate Jim. And he's probably listen to every word. So I'm going to start with Jean.
Oh, well, mine are just...
Yeah, you had some good ones.
I just taught... He always taught me financial responsibility early on. Pay yourself first. Buy your own clothes. Do that kind of stuff. He taught me my gardening skills that I still use today, and I actually shared one with Laura this week. He taught me always when you cut your roses, you cut it above the 5th leaf at an angle. I've taught my neighbors that. Master Gardener, she's like, well, I never heard that. But the main thing was, it was real special to me to be able to spend the last 3.5 weeks with he and Mom out in Arizona, and a few of the siblings. That was real special that it was right till the last minute.
You're not going to say what he said the last day? Bingo! Gene says no bingo today, Dad. And he thought for a little while, and then he said, Polish poker?
No, the last thing he said to me is, how'd I get in this predicament? Where did that come from? I have one.
Okay.
Well, and maybe we're going to talk about this, but my sister Ann had painted the mural of the farm on his wall in Silver Spring. That's the farm. Is it a mural? Is that right? Oh, that's there. And boy, he said, or this. So that's a picture of him sitting in front of the mural of his bedroom. And when she painted it, he had what building he was painting, and you know, just different. There was a lot of memories. And he sat there and watched her, and then he talked about their farm, and that's out in Coleman, right, where the highway went through. So he always had a lot of stories about the farm, and he would remember them. And he always family was first. I was there a lot with him in the last, I don't know, 5-10 years with Mom in Arizona, and it was always, get on the phone and call the family. I want to talk to the family. Family first, babies. He always wanted the pictures of the babies, even when he was sick, and you know, he just, family was first. It was always family. So.
Shirley, where was the Neshek farm?
What?
Where was the Neshek farm?
Right across from the Gadet's where the flower shop is?
Oh,
It's
okay.
gone.
Okay, that's where it was. Okay.
Where the highway went through.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
now,
As long as we're going way back, I have to say this. I have a feeling I'm probably one of the first ones to meet Jim. I met Jim in our grade school. It was 8 classes in one room. And there was Jim and his brother Jerome, and who I call Mick at Milton. And at one time, his sister Irene was my teacher. So I go way back.
Well, I'm delighted to have you attend this celebration, along with my wife Nancy, and of course Sister Vi, my 97-year-old sister. The things that I remember most, of course, are our memories on the farm. We sort of had a bifurcated family in the sense that my eldest brother and 3 sisters were much older, and then we had a period in between there where my parents, I guess, forgot how to raise babies. And then came the twins, Jim and his twin brother Jerry, and then I brought up the rear. But the memories are of the farm, and our dad was really a strict disciplinarian. You didn't fool around. When he told you to do something, you jumped at high speed. So he would give us duties, and he'd go do something in town. I don't know where, but he'd be gone. We'd get our work done so fast, and then we'd go play basketball or boxing. Older brother Vic was a boxer, and he taught us to box. But little funny incidents on the farm. Jim, his twin brother Jerry, and I were walking in a field, and all of a sudden Jim gets up and he's yelling and screaming and jumping around, and we're trying to, is the guy having a fit or what? And he's grasping himself by the leg, and he said, there's something up my leg. Well, it happens that a mouse crawled in his pants. So we had to take his pants off, get the mouse out. But many, many happy memories, of course, on the farm. And Jim's twin brother, he's living in Simi, California. They have their 89th birthday, and Jerry's living with his son Jeff, who sort of is a little caretaker for him now, and they're getting along very well. Nancy and I
had the privilege of being able to visit with him about a month and a half ago. So, thanks to all the people bringing memories about Jim. There are so many of them. You know the kids called him Diamond Jim.
DJ.
Well, he got the name because he knew how to hang on to the money. He dished it out very judiciously. So I remember my wife Nancy, I don't know, she had a spell over him. Whatever it was, if Nancy would recommend it, he eventually would go along with it. So when Laura was getting married, she wanted to have her wedding at the Bigfoot Country Club in Fontana. And we were members of that club then. And Jim just totally vetoed it. And Mary was just distraught as I read it.
Laura.
I mean Laura. So Laura came to Nancy and said, Nancy, do you think you could talk to my dad? So true to form.
They got married at Bigfoot.
Great celebration.
That's a good one.
Oh, we could go on and on. Thank you all for coming. And I'm just so happy to have Sister Vi here. And, you know, 97 years old. And she just looks as beautiful as ever.
So, I'm Steven. I'm Beth's oldest. We spent a lot of time up here as kids with Grandpa, and Dad would make pancakes in the mornings. But if there was some of Grandma Julie's pie laying around, Dad would have pie while he pancakes. So Grandpa comes out one morning, sees this pie, sees there's more pie. He's very excited. My dad, joking, says, "Oh, it's no good. It went bad overnight." She kind of slides it back in the tray. My dad goes, No, it's actually good." Grandpa looks at him, looks at me. He's like, "Why would you joke about pie?"
Yeah, I can hear him saying that. That's great. Great. We're all set? We're good.
I'll do one more.
Karma G.
My stories are for Shirley and Jim. There are no two people who are more inviting and warm and just open their arms to you no matter when. Over the years, they've been special friends and just the most hospitable, loving people. Love them both.
Thank you.
Sorry, I lost my voice yesterday, but there's a ton of stories about Grandpa. I think most of our cousins know. It was probably more of a father figure to a lot of us, particularly me. But see if I can get it together. From just when we were little kids, that was some of the best things were to run into the bedroom and crawl up onto that awful green bed that they had. And you could just get to the top and you'd see him and they'd wave you in and you'd come snuggling in. Or he'd shave in the morning, always in his whitey tighties.
He'd be in them all day.
Walk into the bathroom and he'd always have, like, he'd get the lather all up in the sink. He gets some on his finger and get you in the face with it. So you could shave right next to him. But kind of a happier, funnier story was Steve and I were driving up to the cabin with him, with Grandma, and at this point we were old enough to drive, and everybody was still a little touchy on Grandpa driving all the time. He's starting to get a little sleepy, what we think is sleepy, so Steve and I look over and I go, "Grandpa, you want me to drive for you? You doing okay?" And he's like, "No, I'm fine. Besides, I know where all the deer are."
But Grandma promptly looks up from her book in the back of the minivan and, really, Jim, did you talk to him today? Just, a great guy that just, we miss him and love him.
I gotta say something because I'm a outsider because I married into this chaos called the Neshik family. And just 2 stories. When I was about to marry my lovely bride, I couldn't get out to Tucson to ask Jim for her hand in marriage. So I picked up the phone and we had a conversation. And at the end of the conversation, I said, I want to marry your daughter. I love her. I want to take care of her for the rest of her life. I want her to have babies. I want to take care of those babies. And on the other side of the phone, I hear, "What? You got my daughter pregnant?" No, Jim, I love her. I want to get her pregnant. So that was my first. So then we had that courting. We were engaged, and we went to California for the Christmas, and then we went to Mammoth, and we skied all day, and like always, the Neshik's a big family. We get together at night, and there's talking that usually turns into finance with Gene and Jim, and talking about where the money's going. And I was just sitting in the background, and he turned to me and looked at me and said, "You divorce her, you get nothing." That's all good. But no, I just wanted to say that John's already alluded. A lot of people have traveled a long way to come here. I know it's the day before 4th of July. It's a Sunday. You should be with your family, but your family with us here today. And I want to let you know how important it is to be here. Nowhere else but here. A cottage next to the lake. When I first came into the family, Laura said, "We're going up to the cottage." And, you just think it's going to be, you're on the boat, you're just screwing around. But this is really where the family gets together. This is really where the memories are made. This is really where it happens. I knew that right away. When I watched Jim, it was funny how the day would progress. There was always an agenda. There was a plan. And when you got up here, it wasn't all play. The whole family would come up a week in August, and there was a big job, a big task at hand. And we'd all participate. And he was a boss. He told you how to work and how to do it, but the job got done. And every job would always be the whole entire family putting their sweat, blood, hard work into the job, and he would watch over, and usually you'd hear sometime during the day, "Brian, that's not right." And right when he said that, it was funny. He'd say, "Brian, that's not right." Shirley would come out. "Jim, he's working. Let him be." Shirley is your savior, really. But we would work hard. Then the next thing would soon, and he was touring the lake. He felt like his sheep came home, and he was the shepherd, and he had them all confined to this boat, and he was just with his family. He had the biggest smile on his face. The biggest smile on his face. He was the dad. He was the boss. These were his kids. These were his love. And each one of you have to know, he lived for you guys. I mean, he did everything that he could for each one of you. And he was always happy to do it. Always happy to do it. He did it for me too. Happy to do it. I ran an election. I get this big donation. I never asked for it. I looked at my wife and said, "This is crazy." And she said, "He wants to do this for you." That's the type of guy he was. Didn't have to ask, but he was going to do it for you. So we get off the boat, and what would we do? Everyone knew we'd have a dinner, and what happened after dinner? We played cards. We all played cards. And there was always an argument with Jim and Shirley if he's cheating because he always won. And Shirley says, "No, there's no way you can win again." And he would always win. And he'd always have that look. Anytime Shirley would scold him a little, he would put his head down a little, his tongue would come out a little, his eye would wink, and he'd have a little snicker. "Okay, I'm listening to you, but it'll happen again." That was Jim. But I just want to say thank you very much, because it truly does mean so much that you're here. Because like I said, it's not just a cottage, it's not just a lake. This is his little paradise, and he's back home in his paradise. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Okay. Thanks, Paul. It means a lot. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to do one more closing prayer. Ask Reverend Fred to come up and say some words. And I kind of pencil him in the program. And then we'll close with Amazing Grace.
It's been very obvious that these memories and these stories have been shared in the spirit of Thanksgiving. And so we want to close this little celebration service with a prayer that I often have used in the 50 years that I've been a pastor in congregations, as we have remembered with thanksgiving the lives of those gifts that God gives to us to share life with. Let us pray. O God of grace and glory, we remember before you today our brother Jim. We thank you for giving him to us to know and to love as a companion in our pilgrimage on earth. In your boundless compassion, continue to walk with us and strengthen us as we live in the memories of life and love. Give us your aid so that we might see in his death and our own the gateway into eternal life. And help us as we now continue our life on earth until in confidence by your call we are reunited with those who have gone before us. Through your Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord, we pray. Amen. Amen.
Okay, everyone, we're gonna sing Amazing Grace. This is one of Grandpa's favorite songs ever since he was a small boy. And the words, as you've seen, are all in this program here. And we just have a recording, so it's easy to follow along, and I'm sure you guys all know this song, so join us.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a